phone. Look, this is
Mm-hmm.
the fake page I made. There's like a bunch of like fake apps there, right?
Oh, they're fake?
Well, kinda. So look, I press Safari, right? The web browser.
Yeah.
Oh, is that no? And look, it takes you into the Shortcuts app, loads that up, and then loads Safari.
Oh.
So anyone who's into tech would not do that. No one
No.
would want that experience slowed down enough. But if you're like if you're like a teenage girl who just cares only about how their phone screen looks, you're
Yeah.
gonna do it. And that's why I find it funny because I looked on all this trending stuff and I couldn't see any tech channel that made something like this. And I feel like it was just so they're using a feature where it was never meant for that. It was never meant to just launch an app. Like this is like the Shortcuts app. You're supposed to like do like a bunch of like programming, like maybe you want to open an app and then post to Twitter, like do like, you know, like automation with it.
Yeah.
And they're just using like the simplest command of open app. And that's it. That's it. Like and it's just funny how it worked out.
They're like, hey, that's the best thing ever.
Yes, and I believe you could save shortcuts to the home screen before 14 came out, and I just find it funny that all of a sudden 14 comes out, these widgets come out, and then all of a sudden you see people going, "Let me customize the home screen."
Yeah, it almost feels like every iOS there's a new kind of cool thing that people kind of gravitate towards, and this seems to be it because I know it was trending on Twitter like show me your home screen or whatever.
Yeah,
that was like the big thing.
Gwendolyn G is saying it's going strong. It is going strong. I regret not making a video on it. Now I feel like I feel like the time has passed. Now I don't even want it. But it wasn't meant for that, Gwendolyn. It really wasn't. Like I don't think Apple foresaw that people would do that, because then I feel like Apple would have never added that, because they don't like you customizing your home screen. And seeing all these people customize their home screen, I could see why. It looks ugly. Like people are like you know what I mean? Like Apple's all about like the look and style and like, oh, it's got to look perfect, which is why they don't let you do custom watch faces either, which they probably should let you do.
Hey, Sean, I think I did. I think I got a couple hours before Greg did, which is backwards because I'm on the West Coast. I should have gotten it after him.
You know, I haven't even really spent as much time with my fold as I would like, because I had to go right to Apple stuff when everything came out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still pretty cool. Mine's in the other room. It's actually turned off right now, and that's one of the things that concerns me. It's like I'm not as like when I wake up, I sometimes forget to even grab it. What I need to do is to force myself to make it my main phone, and that's difficult because of like iMessage and stuff. So if I swap the SIM on it, which is what I should do to really kind of try to get myself connected to it. When I use it, I like it. It's actually fun. So maybe I'll swap it. I don't know. Hey, 619, hope you're doing well, buddy. Get better.
Yeah, the Gwendolyn saying they approved something called Widgetsmith. That's the other thing on top of this. You could see, this is such an awful mock-up. I love it. You can see on my Widgetsmith, I put a Dragon Ball Z thing there, and it's just a photo. It does nothing. And that kind of sparked like this customization too. But it really, it's just a photo.
I don't understand any of this. I don't understand any of it.
Well, Widgetsmith doesn't go against Apple's rules.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to take off my glasses. I don't even care at this point. I don't care. I do for the actual live stream. I'll take them off. I forgot I was supposed to take them off. I forgot about it. Okay. What time is it? Oh, we still got some time for the beforecast. We still got time for the beforecast. And then I put in the title just all the big things that everyone's talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I made an outro. It's short, but it'll work.
Hey.
The problem is I can't actually hear it when I play it because I'm Bluetooth in. I need to figure out how to do this so that I can hear everything, including because I can't hear myself through this either. I guess I have to multi-track, but I now have to send you the right track for that. But I don't know which track the right one is, and I don't have a software that can open up the files. So, but anyway, I do have an outro, and I don't know if it's gonna. I don't know. It'll work. I just won't be able to hear it.
All right.
Yeah. New York's in the building. Good to see you.
Maybe if I made the customization video, it would open it up to the tech people, because I feel like it's all just regular everyday people. Like, hey,
I think you should just do it. I mean, why wouldn't you at this point? It's pretty much the path has been driven, so that means there's people who will watch it. It's going to be in there.
I feel like I'll make it and then no one will watch it, and I'll be like, oh.
Well, I mean, I think you should make it just based on the trends that are out there. So that's just my thought.
I should probably, and behind the scenes stuff. I literally texted Travis this morning going, there's this trend going on. I feel like I should make a video on this. And then like that was before like they were actually on YouTube trending. And then like I come back later just before GadgetCast and I look and it's like it's not like one video trending. It's like 7 different iPhone customization videos trending. And I'm just like, man, wow. what a missed opportunity for me.
I know, right?
And mine I don't like my own content. I'm not some high horse over here. I will say it probably would have been the most highly produced customization video out there right now, because right now, it's just a bunch of like girls like sitting on their bed going, here's my iOS home screen and let me show you how to customize.
It's so weird how a channel who you said when they started had like 100 subscribers got on trending. Like it doesn't. Like, how does it even get the momentum enough to do it? YouTube out here playing games with my feelings at times. Anyway, doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and let's get this thing started. Are you Rate? Is everything leveled correctly? I think it is. Yes.
Hold on.
Now they're coming back. Oh, that's interesting. Okay,
I feel like the customization though for this thing, I feel like it's too inconvenient. Like you press it, it takes you into another screen, and then it takes you to the app you want. And I don't know.
You could point that out. I don't know. I would point that out. If it was me, I'd make a video go, you might have seen this around on YouTube and wondering why it's trending. All of us know why, but let's talk about it right after this. However you do it.
That would be you. And then I would go, hey everyone, Greg here, and let me show you how to customize your home screen. Okay, step 1, long press the screen. Okay, you're gonna
okay, that was good. All right, let's go ahead and get into this. Let's go ahead and record in 3, 2, 1, record.
Discovery's 4 computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions.
3, 2, 1, 0, 0.
Hello, world, and welcome to the most customizable tech podcast out there, the GadgetCast. My name is Gregory McFadden, joined always by Travis MCP.
Nice to be in orbit.
Space traveling
to some ears near you, hopefully your own ears. That's right. It's me, Travis. I hope you're having a great day.
Yeah, before, you got to be here for the live show sometimes, because Travis and I just had a very in-depth conversation about all these customization videos blowing up on YouTube done by people who aren't in the tech space. And it's one of those things where you have to think outside of the box, because someone like me, I kind of knew this feature existed already. So I thought, oh, of course people know about this. Why? And to teach someone to do this, why would someone be interested in making this workaround to make their home screen all customizable? But then it just takes the right person finding that and going, no one must know about this. Let me post it. And it turns out no one knew about it. So it just blows up. And it's really interesting to see that happen, because everyone posting these videos doesn't make tech content. And you would think at least one person in our area would have went, let's make this, but not to be seen. Now, I assume in like the next couple of days, you're going to see everyone who makes tech content make one of these videos.
I mean, you should give it a shot at this point.
I don't know if I'll be one of those people. If I am, you should watch my video. If I'm not, I'm on my high horse, and I was like, you know what? I'll let the other people have it. We'll see. I already graced trending 4 times. I probably don't need another one at this point.
You should get a trophy every time you get on trending or something.
I do have a screenshot of every time I've been on YouTube trending. And I was thinking about making a t-shirt that says 4-time YouTube trender. And then it's just the thumbnail of trending. see who buys that. Who would buy that from my merch store?
That's a good question. Who would buy that, ladies and gentlemen? Tell us in the comments, or you can feel free to drop us a line. We have contact in the show notes, because why not? But of course, today we have a lot of things to go over. I don't know how, I'm hoping to get this done in an hour, but we have a lot of things to talk about. And I'm thinking some of this might stretch longer than others. We have a lot of Apple news and, of course, the Galaxy Z Fold 2. So which direction do you want to start first there, Greggy? You want to start with the one Samsung thing or the many multiple Apple things?
Let us start. Let's save the Fold conversation for last, actually. How about that? I'm gonna say we've talked about the Fold so much on the show. We got breaking news from Apple. So we'll talk about that first, and then we'll dedicate a large section to the Fold, I guess. All right. So we had an Apple event. This is one of those shows again where it's been a week. It feels like it's been a month, but there's an Apple event. No iPhones, like we said. There's no iPhones. New Apple Watch, Series 6, Apple Watch SE, iPad, and iPad Air. I want to talk about the Apple Watch first because I have that. We have to wait for that iPad Air and that other iPad. It's not as interesting. So the Series 6 comes out, has a blood oxygen sensor, comes in a nice blue color. I should have just grabbed it.
Love the blue.
Look at that blue. Ooh, it's so nice. It's very nice. That blue. If you're watching the video portion, actually, I had to take it off because I got the SE as well, which I don't know why. So they announced 2 watches, Series 6, $399, blood oxygen sensor, faster processor, and an always-on altimeter, and a 2.5 times brighter always-on display. Then they had the Apple Watch SE, which basically took the Apple Watch Series 4 and took away features, took away the ECG, always-on display, and is that it? I think it's missing something else. But anyway, that's $280, kind of more of the budget model. And I don't know. It's not that big of an update. It'll be interesting to see what that blood oxygen sensor does in the long run, if that's actually going to be a significant health feature. Because I think the real magic here is you can obviously measure it, right? You can go into the app, do a 15-second measurement, get your blood oxygen reading. Mine has always been in the healthy range, right? 95 to 100%. I was really worried it wasn't going to be, but apparently I'm fine, which is kind of weird. I thought I would be not fine. But
so I do have a question before you get too deep into this, because before you talk more about the specifications of these and kind of the use cases, I saw something happen on Twitter, and I saw you retweet that. I thought it was kind of funny that some people were aggravated by, and I will admit, the one thing that I would like to have seen in the SE, although I realize why it's not on there, is the ECG, which, listen, it makes sense. It's got, the SE's got to lack something, but it's such a really useful feature that I guess some people got their panties in a bunch. And I saw you retweet somebody who was essentially saying that they're killing poor people or something by doing ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't know. The guy, I forget. I think he wrote for Venture Beat. I don't even know. But I just saw this ridiculous tweet of Apple is against poor people and against grandparents and kids by releasing a watch without a ECG reader. And I was just like, this is the weirdest take I've ever seen. I mean, listen, maybe that story makes sense if Apple was selling an Apple Watch with all these health features and it was $10,000 and it's if you want your life saved, you got to get the $10,000 one. It's $120 difference. Listen, I get it. Times are tough. I get, some people, you don't have a big budget, but it's $120 difference. I really don't feel like Apple released this model with the intention of, hey, if you're listen, these features cost money. It costs money to put an ECG in a watch. It costs money to put a blood oxygen sensor in a watch. The reason why they took it out of the cheaper model is because that's the only way that they could make it cost $280. If it had all that technology in it and they still wanted to make their profit, well, it would be $399. So I thought that was a weird take. And I think the ECG is kind of important, but if you do the test once and nothing's wrong, you forget about it and you never use it again. Like I used it once and I use it in videos, and then you go, oh, I'm fine. Okay, that was good to know. Next. The real benefit with the Apple Watch so far has been the heart rate notifications and fall detection. Those have been the few biggest life-saving features of the Apple Watch, and the Apple Watch SE has both of those. So I feel like if anything, Apple offering a cheaper watch with both of those features, they're saving more lives if you want to take that route. So yeah, I don't know. That's weird. Anyway, the blood oxygen sensor, who knows if this will even be a life-saving feature, by the way. It might be based on they do background readings, and it will be interesting. This is something that it's going to be so hard to review. It's like any of these Apple Watch products. They have these health features, and who knows, is fall detection really going to be life-saving? You really don't find that out until like 5 months, until like people have had these, and then you hear these stories going, the blood oxygen sensor saved my life. It gave me a background reading. I went to the doctor. So right now, it's kind of gimmicky because it just gives you a reading, right? I'm healthy. I'm not healthy. What do you do with that information? Who knows? I'm more interested to hear the stories that come out 5 months from now where a user will be like, hey, it gave me a low reading. I went to the doctor and he said, thank God you came in because, now we can do this, that, and this, and you'll be healthy. So it's so hard to test that stuff. Other than that, it's not like if you have an Apple Watch Series 4 or a Series 5, I don't think you need to update to this. It's not that big of an update unless you are a person who needs a blood oxygen sensor, which, by the way, I think you can buy for like $20, right? Like a little finger strap, and it measures your blood oxygen.
Yeah, I mean it's great to have all these features, but it's so weird how people quickly get accustomed to them and then almost entitled to stuff that didn't even exist or doesn't even exist on other products. It's a strange thing. Yeah. What does Everyday Dad here say? I'm excited to have the VO Max easily trackable. It's either a huge pain in the butt to do manually or you have to go to an expensive fitness center for a machine. Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have it. And again, Apple continues to add these features and things that a lot of people don't even think about. And then you get used to it. And that's the worst because humans are terrible. Then they get entitled to it.
So I think the brilliant thing with the blood oxygen sensor, and I think this is going to be a bigger impact than the ECG, is because it can do background readings. Or sometimes I go to my watch and I open the app, it goes, hey, 30 minutes ago, we took a reading and this was your level. The problem with the ECG on the Apple Watch, which again is a really nice feature and obviously can help a lot of people out, is you have to manually go in and remember to do it. And if you have to remember to do it and take a reading like every week, people are not going to remember to do that. So the fact that it has background detection, I think it could potentially be a big feature. It's just something that there's no way you can decide if that's a big feature 1 month even reviewing it. And there's no way that you alone would have the data to find out if that's a feature. So that makes my job hard because it's like, well, is this something that could save your life? And do I recommend it? Or is it something where it just doesn't work out the way you want it to? But going back to the SE versus the 6, I think the SE 280 for it. Obviously, if you can find a Series 5 for like 300, I think you would go with that because it has the always on display. But those are probably going to be discontinued and probably out of stock pretty soon. So once that happens, 280 for this design, it's the same design that you have. I think that's a good deal, and it brings a lot of those health features down the line. So I think they're both solid updates or revisions.
Yeah, I have I have the 4 and the 5 at the moment, and which is silly, but I don't. And I mean, one of them got sent to me. It's a long story. Anyway, they're fine for what they are. I don't know that the 6 is something that I would upgrade to from even if I just had the 4. I don't feel like, I mean, the colorways are the only things that are really kind of making me want them. Like, I love the red and the blue. My God. I mean, I want them. But other than that, like, there's no reason for me to get that. And I feel like it's not the least impressive of all the things they announced, but it's just not something that that's tickling my fancy or making me particularly amazed by it. You know what I mean? It's just not. It's not one of the cooler things that they announced. I already made my video on one of the things that I think was one of the cooler things they announced. So we'll get into that as we get into the iPad.
I feel like in 6 months we'll know, like, is this a good thing to have? And then by the next update, that's the time to kind of go get it because it's proven out there.
Mhm.
But if you need a new Apple Watch, I mean, now's a great time to buy one because you have 2 pretty good options in the market. So if you're waiting for an update, I mean, now's the time to update. If you have one of the more recent models, I mean, I haven't had it for that long. I'm guessing it's safe to probably say you can skip it and wait for next year's model. And I kind of feel like that's a good thing. Like there's always people out there that's like, well, I'm not upgrading to the next iPhone because my iPhone's already great. And it's like, I feel like that's a good problem to have. If your iPhone's already great and the next model isn't all that better, like that's a great problem for you to have. Same thing with these Apple Watches. A lot of people are disappointed going, my Series 4 is still great. I love it. And I'm not updating. I'm really disappointed. And I'm just like, are you just looking to like throw money at Apple? Like, oh, I need this feature. I have to have it. When I used to not review tech and my products lasted a long time, I used to love that. I'm like, oh, I got the right model. It still has all the features I want. And then like when I bought something and then like a year later, it got replaced by something like so much better, I would get so disappointed. I'd be like, oh man, I should have just waited. So I always like it. I always like it when there's like a minor revision and it's like, I don't have to go out and spend tons of money, but now I do because I cover tech. So I have to buy even the most minor revisions, like this new iPad that has an A12 chip in it, which is kind of crazy, right? Like the $329 iPad, A12 processor, like as much power as you probably ever need, can edit 4K video. Like,
yeah. So case in point, I'm so glad Canoopsy did this. Finally did I want to see the Air versus the Pro, but he did in his video today the 30-minute because here's the thing. And I said that I do want to talk about this because I feel like when we get to the iPad Air, when I talk about the A14 being kind of an amazing thing, and some people are like, it's not any faster than the A12Z, and I'm like, you have no idea if that's true because no one has the A14. You know what I mean? Like, I have a whole thing I want to talk about for that. But it is an amazing thing. And what Canoopsy did was he did an iPad Pro next to the $329 iPad that just came out. And really the only way you can stress test them at this point is really exporting video because video games play the same. Photos has never been a problem. So the only thing you really do is find out what export speeds are on like something like LumaFusion. And he did a 30-minute 4K video, and the difference between the Pro and this $300 iPad was 2 minutes in export time. 2 minutes, that's it, 2 minutes.
yeah.
So that thing is a beast in every single possible way. But I want the blue or green iPad Air for show.
Yeah. I got my 329 iPad and I'm using it, and it's like the only thing that makes the Pros feel faster is it has the 120 hertz display, which kind of it's not really faster, just kind of giving you, it's more responsive. Man, though, that 329, it is just speedy and responsive. It feels just as fast as the Pro model does. Like a normal user or even me who like constantly switches out between technology, I cannot tell you the difference between this or that. Like, it's that good. And you look at something like that, 329, and you compare it against like Apple's $1,000 MacBook Air, this tablet is stronger than that. And I feel like that's awesome because you get a tablet that like it has a bit of an older design, but is it really that big of an issue? And it's just like really empowering and a creative device. And you can give that to someone who is younger and they're not going to be held back with their creativity, I feel like. And especially how versatile iPads are. If you want to do photo editing, video editing, drawing. I mean, you can't draw on like a MacBook Air, right? Like you can't even do that. So it has all these great things with it. And now with iPadOS, if you want to get like a keyboard and trackpad, that Logitech combo works with it.
Yeah.
You're really getting a compelling product at that price point. And it's something we've kind of talked about with Apple making, and I think we have our video reworked out for us again because they released the Apple Watch SE. Apple kind of has this cheaper market that they used to not have. And there's really compelling products in that price range.
Yeah.
But it is kind of a boring update because they just put a faster processor in it. But that's kind of all it needed. And maybe it didn't even need that. The one thing I will say negative about the iPad is it still only has 32 gigabytes of storage. Yeah. And you might be able to kind of shoo that away like a year or two ago. 2020, you're getting 32 gigabytes. If you're keeping this for like 3 to 4 years, which you can because it will get updates, I'm saying spend the extra $100, get the 128, and never worry about it.
Yeah, it's such a good device. Everyday Dad actually says his iPad 2020 is great. He likes to recommend it, but export speeds are way faster on his Pro. I would suggest that Gary go ahead and make a video showing the times, because Canoopsy, to my knowledge, is the only person who's actually put it on there and put it on video and shown the difference. Now, you could say 2 minutes if you're just sitting there thinking is a long time. If you sit there, you go, man, that is a lot faster. But it was a 30-minute video it was exporting, and over time, the first one took like 17 minutes, the other one took like 19 minutes. So if you're already waiting like 17 minutes, 2 minutes may seem a lot longer if you're sitting there trying to figure out what the difference is between them. But if you step back from it, look at the price difference and go, well, how much am I actually getting for my $200 or $300? 2 minutes is nothing on a 30-minute. So, and of course he's editing his video right now, so that's good. So I guess we'll see that soon. So make sure you check out the Everyday Dad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, if I did that same speed test on my MacBook Air versus MacBook Pro, the Air will take like 10 minutes longer at least to export it. And then you're starting to go, okay, maybe it's worth it to get the Pro. I don't want to wait an extra 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But if it's like a 2-minute wait time, it's not a big deal.
Well, we'll see. And maybe there's a reason that Canoopsies went that way. I mean, maybe if you do layers and stuff. I mean, I don't know.
Gary's over here shooting on like a $20,000 camera, high bit rate. I'm sure maybe at that point. Maybe there's some struggle there.
But yeah, so I guess at the end of the day, especially if Amazon does the same thing they did last year where they were cutting prices on that thing left, right, and center.
Oh yeah.
That if it gets anywhere under 300, slap your mama, you better go get it, because it's ridiculous. The A12 is going to be more than serviceable for the next many years. And it's a great tablet. Now, if you have what I would say is you have the last version, don't upgrade. If you have the 9.7 version of the iPad, sure, go ahead, because you get a slightly bigger screen, and now you also have some of the other cool things. But I wouldn't necessarily upgrade from last year's, or even you call it last year, but really technically it was only a couple of weeks ago that it was still current iPad. I don't see the point.
No, use normal consumers should probably use their iPads until they feel slow. And that goes with like any device you have now. Like, they should last a pretty long time. But the more interesting update, and we were kind of talking with Luke Miani on the last Gadget Cast about this. You can see how wrong we all were with this iPad Air. Now, we got some things right. Like, we knew it was going to look like the iPad Pros. We were kind of talking about, why would anyone want an iPad Pro if this exists? And we were trying to like be in Apple's position. We were trying to sell the Pro. I think we were all like thinking it like, we still need to sell the Pro. We can't make the Air that good. And no one has these yet. They don't ship until October, which kind of stinks. But I got to say, it has a 10.9-inch display, which, okay, like, it might as well be 11 inches. Like, I don't know. Like, did they just put that just to like, I don't know. It feels like a lie to me. Like, what do you mean 10?
No, so I saw a picture of this. The bezels are slightly large. I mean, ever so slightly larger than the Pro.
Yeah, I bet. So a little bit thicker, but like, oh my gosh.
Like not even, but even.
Yeah. I don't even like, wouldn't it have been cheaper just to keep the same bezel size? Like, I don't get it.
Right.
So 10.9-inch display, basically same design, USB-C. I think I saw some corrections in my video. I said it had 4 speakers, and I think it does have 4 cutouts, but I think it's technically only 2 speakers. So that could be, but it's positioned in the right way. It's positioned on one side and on the other side. So it's kind of stereo, whereas the other one just was like a bottom firing speaker. What else? New colors, the green, the blue. Oh, those look so nice. I'm like, I really am like considering, and this is like, it's just like an awful thing to say. I'm like, maybe I'll use this iPad because it's blue. And I
know, right? Same.
Blue. But I think the big shock was the A14 processor just being in this, and that's where we were really wrong, because we were trying to like sell the Pro still, and we were like, maybe they'll put like the A13 in it, or maybe they'll keep the A12. They can't put an A13 in it, because if they have an A13 and the iPad Pro is an A12Z, that'll look weird. It'll look like the Air is more powerful, and then Apple just says puts an A14 in it and stomps us all. Like, we were all wrong in that.
Yeah, and the thing is, so there's a lot. So one thing I learned, which I did not know, I think it was in Viper's video, that the USB-C apparently isn't full speed, which is really interesting. I don't know if that's true, but it's based on other information that it won't. it won't transfer as fast as a full USB-C, which is, if that's true, that's very interesting. It won't affect many people using the iPad Air for what they do, because they won't know the difference. In a vacuum, you would never know the difference. It's still going to be faster than lightning. But if true, it's an interesting GIMP and purposeful at that, I would say. Having said that, the rest of it is amazing. Of course, like even Gary and everyone else is saying, that blue has got to be mine. It's just amazing. USB-C, I'm all about that life. It's Magic keyboard compatible. It's all the things. Basically, an SE version of an iPad Pro in so many ways. An exciting piece of hardware with an A14. And the reason why we didn't think it would be an A14, because Apple hasn't led with a iPad as leading the processor when announcing that new processor. It's been a phone primarily. But if you think about it, it actually does make sense. Had everything gone according to timing, this probably would also have been the same event when the iPhone got announced. And of course, the iPad Air of, a couple years ago, a year or so ago, had the same processor as the phone that came out that year. So likely it would have been the same situation. They would have actually announced it with the iPhone, but they couldn't because right now there's a delay. So they just went ahead and did it separately. That's the part I don't understand. But regardless, that's what they did. So I think it happened not because necessarily at the beginning of the year that's the way Apple had planned it. I think it just ended up happening that way because it had to happen that way. Having said that, the A14 processor is an amazing jump forward in iPads. And the thing is, I got a lot of people in my comment section after I made that one video trying to tell me that the A14 is not as powerful as the A12Z that's in the Pro. Well, number one, you don't know that. Everyone's jumping. It's funny because when I called someone out, and I go, you don't know that. No one has it. Immediately someone was like, yeah, you're right, we should wait. I'm like, yeah, but you just left a long comment as to why it doesn't matter. I'm like, bro. So a lot of people saying, oh, first of all, you don't know that. Second of all, what I think people are implying is that the A12Z and that sort of thing have more powerful GPUs, which may be true. But here's the problem with that argument. For the vast majority of things that are done on the iPad, it's the CPU that's used. The GPU is kind of a moot point. This isn't a PC playing different games with so many different configurations that you need the newest NVIDIA card at 3080 or whatever the hell to get 120 frames on at 1080p or whatever. You're going to get that across all the. I mean, that's the way it works. That's the way iPhones work. I mean, and iPads and everything, they work the same way. So it's not like the only thing, again, that really even shows the difference between iPads is like export times on something like LumaFusion. And by and large, and I don't know if this is the case for iPads, but by and large, when you export from a software-based video editing software, it uses the CPU, not the GPU. The GPU is generally speaking for real-time edits, which if you use any of the current stuff, is not a problem now. So I don't believe, I will see what happens. Now, it could be, my guess is worst case scenario, it's as fast. Like it's no slower than the 12Z. But to say that the 12Z and 12X is faster is like saying, well, I put a Ferrari engine in my car the other day, but I'm only ever going to go the speed limit. But it's faster. No, it's not. It's not going anywhere. I'm confused. How? I don't understand how it works. Greg, I'm confused. I just want to say this. It's not going to seem, your 12A, 12Z, 12B, I don't give a crap what you call it. It's not going to seem any faster than the 14A. One of the biggest things about the A14 isn't so much that it's a better processor and potentially faster in CPU usage. It's that it's basically 2-generation jump, which means it should be supported quite a bit longer. So it's not just that it's the newest processor, which may give you some battery savings and all those other cool things. It's going to be supported longer. And it's hard to even argue that. So sit down or create your own YouTube channel, make your own videos.
That's a good idea, but don't do that, because as we've seen with these teenagers making iOS 14 customization videos, it doesn't take much to outdo all of us. So don't do that. The iPad processor situation is always a little bit weird with the Z and the X stuff. On paper, maybe the Z will probably have better GPU still, and maybe multi-core performance is better. Maybe it's the same. We'll see. Again, no one has these devices. No one really knows. But multi-core performance and graphics could still be better on the Pro. But single core will probably be faster on the A14. Single core is usually the most important metric for how fast a device feels. Now, if you're doing like exporting video, yeah, multi-core matters a lot. but like opening an app, doing everything that you do on an iPad, single core performance matters way more than multi-core. And that's how most users experience the iPad. So for most users anyway, the A14 is probably going to feel way faster. Not to mention that, again, it's two chip generations ahead. And Apple Silicon has all these different custom things in it, from like the image signal processor and just all these other things that make it more efficient. They made like a big deal of like the neural network and AI learning all this stuff, and that was really enhanced on the A14. So there's all like this predictive stuff that go into like modern processors. It's not like 10 years ago where it's like this processor is faster and that's it. There's a lot of other weird things that they put into these processors now. It's almost going like beyond my understanding when they talk about it.
Yeah.
So like maybe if it like predicts what app you're going to open, and iOS kind of does that now. It predicts like, hey, you kind of open this app every day at 2:00. So we're going to kind of load it up for you. Maybe the A14 is better at that. And then all of a sudden it makes a world of difference. So yeah, the A14 being in there, and it probably gets software updates for longer. The 12.9-inch iPad Pro, I get it. You can't get a bigger iPad. Having a bigger screen, it's nice. Maybe it makes you more productive. Fine. I look at that 11-inch iPad Pro, and I'm like, when the Air comes out, who's buying that? The only use case I guess I can see is that it does have the ProMotion 120 hertz display. Listen, I know 120 hertz, it's a big topic. People love 120 hertz. Man, I just went back to like the 60 hertz standard iPad again. And I notice it. It's not like saying I can't see it. I forget about it so quick.
Yep.
Like I could go back to a 60 hertz iPad tomorrow. Like maybe I'd miss it a little bit, but I feel like my brain quickly forgets about that.
Yeah, 100%. And it's not to downplay the fact that I think we have hit a standard where pretty much everything 120 hertz, all the things. I don't disagree with that. Like we're, late 2020. It's by 2021, there should be almost nothing released. It's not completely uber budget. That's not 120 hertz. So I'm with that. There's no excuse for them not to have that. Having said that, it's not really as big of a deal. Like give me 2.5 day battery life over 120 hertz and I'll be more than happy with that. 60 hertz, give me 2 day battery life. And I don't care about 120. If I can only get through the 1 day anyway, then give me 120. Just give me 120.
Yeah, I think most users would take battery life over 120. So I agree with you there. I wonder how the Air's battery life will be, and that it doesn't have to support 120. That's actually a pretty good point. It might be pretty good. Again, the Pro kind of has an adaptive one, so it kind of lowers it when you're not touching it. So it probably wouldn't be too much of a difference now that I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I look at that Air, $600 versus an $800 Pro. I'm not seeing a $200 difference with the Pro, and in some cases, it probably will be worse than the Air. So it's a weird position for Apple to be in. This doesn't ship until October. Maybe there's a scenario where they update the iPad Pro in this month that we're waiting for it, and then have that with an A14X. And
well, so that was the thing that John said at the beginning of the year, that there was going to be, I think he said it was a 5G version. Of the iPad, which we haven't heard anything about. Would be interesting if they dropped that during the iPhone 12 announcement. It would almost make sense because then you're talking about the mobile. But at this point, I don't know. Like, is this the first year where there's no LTE/5G version of an iPad available when they launch it? Is that, or no? Was there like iPad Air and stuff? Did they all have mobile versions, like 5G or 4G versions?
Doesn't this one?
Of any of the iPads?
Yeah, they all have LTE and stuff.
Do these as well? This iPad Air this year? Oh, okay. I didn't catch that.
It does. Hold on. Let's see. I don't want to give wrong information. Yeah, it has it. Wi-Fi cellular.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then I stand corrected. Having said that, then I don't know if we'll see a 5G version. Maybe we will, but I don't know. I guess it depends on how much they hype 5G. First of all, I got the Galaxy Fold 2. I've been playing around with it. We'll talk about that very shortly, I think. And I tried it in 5G, and it's mixed, if anything. Like, if you have a good, solid 4G LTE connection, you're good. You're probably never going to see any 5G speeds anyway. So I don't know that it's necessary for them to even come out with one. I think they should just save that processor for the Pro of 2021, and let's go. Let's do it. do that thing.
There's rumors that the Pro will also have like a better display, like mini LED, and that will probably look pretty nice. I imagine a future where maybe the schedule was a little bit better and this rumored iPad Pro was kind of announced before or alongside this. And then you would have a nicer display and faster processor, and then the lineup would make a lot more sense than it currently does.
Yeah.
I also think get rid of that 11-inch iPad Pro, make it a 12-inch, and then make the other one like 13-inch, and then I feel like the lineup makes a lot more sense.
I think I even mentioned that you said that in my video. I think I said that and that made sense to me. I'm like, yeah, that absolutely makes sense. Why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, there's no reason for an 11-inch iPad Pro to exist when a 10.9-inch iPad Air exists, and they pretty much look exactly the same. Now because you have this product, you can make that other Pro bigger, and both of us have experience with the 11-inch now and the 12.9-inch, and I feel like a 12-inch size right in the middle of that, I feel like that's perfect for me, and that's probably the one I would use if they ever release something like that. I have a good feeling that's probably in the works, so I don't know. I just feel like it makes sense to me. Like, yeah, make the iPad Pro bigger, make it stand out a little bit more. Makes sense, right? Pro, big. They kind of did that with the iPhones, right? They got rid of or I guess they're not out yet, but they're getting rid of the 5.8-inch and then just doing two bigger sizes. So just do that as well. And then make iPad Mini with a full screen design too, because I'll buy that.
Yeah, I shot 2 videos within the last 48 hours, and I'm editing and releasing both this coming up week, and I'm trying to remember which one I talked about the iPhone 12 and the different sizes and stuff. But the thing that I said was most impressive is if an iPhone comes out this year with 5G at under $800, that is compelling on a lot of levels. Not even if you're necessarily like an iPhone fan, but the fact that a company like Apple, who is notorious for making expensive devices, would come out with something more than reasonably priced, something more so than even Samsung did this year. Although it looks like Samsung's looking to change that with the S20 FE, which I think they're coming out with this coming up week or something. The reality is, this would be an incredible move for them to take something that's a brand new technology like that. It's a kind of a needle moving technology and go potentially backwards in price. So that's a compelling thing. Now, I don't like the size; it's too small for me. But I know a lot of people are excited about that size, and I think they could move some needles with those.
Yeah, it'll be good too for all these network carriers too who are pushing 5G, because the iPhones just sell so much. So it'll be better for 5G networks too, because I'm sure it'll just spur them on to make the access even better. Like you said with your Fold 2, I also realized, hey, it's my first 5G phone, and I look to see if I had a 5G signal. I'm like, I do. I'm like, ooh, let me do a speed test. And I got like 11 megabits per second. I'm like, this is the same as LTE. I am not impressed.
Well, I did find out that I had to get a new SIM to take advantage of that. I did not know. I had an old SIM laying around from like a year or two ago, and I put it in and it worked and it said 5G, but apparently my carrier is like, well, if you really want to get like some of the more advanced stuff, you need a new SIM for that. I don't know if that's the case with all carriers, but it was with mine. So something to think about.
That's strange. I feel like that's a lie.
No, I mean, I looked it up after the fact, and their documentation says the same.
That sounds like when I call up like the internet company, and it's like, my speeds aren't what they're advertising. Like, oh, you need this cable.
I know. Listen, I know what you're saying, and I don't disagree. Except for I looked it up a little bit, and they looked like they were telling the truth. I mean, what am I going to do? It didn't cost me any money, so I didn't care.
Okay, free. All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look into if my SIM's 5G. I think this is a relatively new SIM though, so hopefully.
So let's real quick talk about since we talked about all the Apple stuff, real quick. iOS 14 released, pretty damn cool. All types of cool stuff you can do with it. What is your favorite thing you can do on it right now, there, Greg? What's your favorite iOS 14 thing?
Oh man, I guess I don't know. I really don't know. I kind of like the app library because my home screen is like really cluttered, and I'm always like an awful person at organization. So I just let it just fill up. And then when 14 came out, I was like, well, I'll just have like one page and then just let everything else go into like the app library. Like you can do with Android, by the way. That's kind of already an Android feature. And I just let it go there. And I don't know, I've been pretty happy doing that. Widgets are cool too, I guess. How about you? What's your favorite feature?
Widgets for sure. And it's funny, one of the comments you see a lot of people talking about is that, oh, they got all that stuff from Android. Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing. And I say this in a video that's coming up. The other day, I shot a video that I'm going to release this week, and it's like 20 minutes unedited, and I never talked that long. I have no idea what the hell I said. I'm scared to go into that edit. But anyway, one of the things I did say was that it's actually more of a threat for Apple to gain the Android features than it is Android to ever try to get any Apple features, steal any Apple features, because Apple has something that Android doesn't have, which is a coherent and cohesive ecosystem. So as Apple starts to grab more of these kind of low-hanging fruit like widgets and that sort of thing, it becomes more the complete phone, where Android cannot compete because there is no overall ecosystem on the level of an Apple thing. If Apple were to just go all in and just take all and just bridge the entire gap between iOS and by making it maybe more customizable and that sort of thing, there's no reason for Android at that point. Really, there wouldn't be. Now, we know that's probably not going to happen, and that's fine. But when Apple does stuff like this, it makes it even more interesting to people who are on the edge of ever wanting to try iOS. Oh, I don't want to try it because I can't do this. I don't want to try it because I don't have widgets. I don't want to try it because of this. And now, as they add these things, it becomes a lot more interesting to people that are, in the Apple side of the fence, or even not even, if you're even just considering it.
No, I think you're right. I think we saw someone say earlier in the beforecast that people were jumping back to Apple because they added widgets and more customization, and that's what they wanted, and they got it. You know what? Everyday Dad is 100% right. My favorite thing about iOS 14 is it let me hit 1 million views in 3 days. That is true. That might be my favorite thing. I made a tips and tricks video. You can find all my favorite iOS 14 things there. Maybe learn a thing or two. Do you use the back tap, Travis?
Yeah, actually, I set it up after I saw it in your video. I set that up. I kind of like
that video. Oh,
yeah, I watched it. Of course, why not? Because I needed some help on iOS 14. But so that's iOS 14. We'll talk more about it in the coming weeks. But I do want to go ahead.
I will say one thing before we get off this iOS 14 topic. Widgets on iOS, I feel they're not that useful in a way because they just kind of show you things. So like weather, calendar, and stuff. I guess that's like how most people use widgets. I kind of wish there was a little more interaction, which you can do on Android. Like you can have like your Gmail open on Android widgets and like scroll through and like select. Mm-hmm. But here's where I'll give Apple credit on their widgets. They look nice. Like they look very aesthetically pleasing. I almost never use widgets on Android because I feel like they're so ugly. And I'll get tons of hate for that because every time there's like an Android user and you mention widgets, they get so mad because they've had that feature for so long now, right? They're like, oh, I've had that for years and now Apple does it. But like, I never use widgets on my Android phone except like the weather because I always like look at like the widgets. I'm like, these are really ugly. And I will say for iOS 14, I feel like they look nice. So I want to kind of have them on my home screen. I'm like, these are aesthetically nice. But we got a super chat from Gabriel who never puts anything in the super chat, just puts I feel like Gabriel, you got to say something. I feel like, thank you. We appreciate you, Gabriel.
Yeah, the thing's not coming up, but I can highlight it.
So nice. I love Gabriel.
So Gabriel ended up, he did a super, what did he do? He's a member on my thing. He got the highest membership, so I have to shout him out, which I did do in an upcoming video, not tomorrow's video, the video after. So I appreciate that. He's showing a lot of support. We greatly appreciate Gabriel.
I'm just gonna, Gabriel, no fee required on my channel. I think I'm just gonna shout you out. Just be like, Gabriel T Black, amazing person. Subscribe. So I think I'll do that.
Look at that, 2 for 1. Yeah. Okay, so lastly, I want to talk a little bit about the Galaxy Fold 2. I don't care if it's called Z Fold 2. I just want to call it Fold 2 because the Z is done.
Fold 2. We're renaming it. Sorry, Samsung. It's the Fold.
It's the Fold 2. It's the Fold 2. So I got mine. Greg got his. I released a video that tells you kind of where I am, and I'm still in that point right now where I'm 100% unsure if I'm going to keep it or not. It is a remarkable piece of hardware. It's really cool and interesting. Seems very impractical, and I'm kind of at a weird place because I expected it to completely pull me back into Android, which has not done yet. But I also kind of admitted during the forecast that I need to just go ahead and put my main SIM in it rather than being a secondary a device, which I have now. I think what I need to do is just commit completely as soon as I it's just I have so many iMessages going on, and I'm in group chats which are done differently than they are in text on Android and stuff that I'm kind of like hesitant to do it. But if I could get myself to do it and then just really commit to that phone being the primary phone, I'll have a better idea a lot quicker. Right now, I'm very impressed with it. Again, check out my video for all the latest, but I believe that it is a really amazing piece of technology. $2,000 is just so much money though. And I got a lot of weird comments on the video, and some were like just completely off base, and others were like, yeah, it's worth $2,000. Others were like, it's not worth $2,000. I think that number is such a controversial number, and it's probably the only number that Samsung can make even any money on it, if at all. So I get it. I understand why it's that much, but obviously foldables are not going to be like a huge thing until that price comes way down. But it is a very interesting potential look into the future. I really do dig it.
Yeah, I I still need to spend more time with it like you. I kind of got blindsided. I thought I'd have like a couple weeks just to spend time with this. All these Apple products came out, so I kind of had to go back, use the Apple Watch and I had to pair it to my iPhone. So it's been breaking that experience for me, and I've been kind of just using my iPhone and my Fold at the same time. I kind of want to just spend a couple weeks with it, like by itself, and not interact with any of these other devices. It's such an interesting product, and it is hard to kind of it's kind of hard to really think about how you feel about it, because there's so much novelty to this. Mm-hmm. I'm still in that, every time I unfold it, I'm like, wow, look at this nice big tablet right in front of me. And I don't know if that's useful yet. It's like the Z Flip when I first got it. It was the same way. I'm like, so cool. I can fold it up and it's compact. And I knew that it would wow me. I knew, because the technology is so new. I'm like, I'm going to get wowed by this. The real test is in a month, am I going to pick that up because I want to use it? And it turned out, no, I never really wanted to use it again after it wore off. This is now that I've experienced both, the wowness on this is better than the Z Flip, because when you do open it up, it's a nice screen. It's a nice big screen on the inside. I go to Twitter. It's nice and blown up. I go to watch a YouTube video. You get a nice big view of it. The main problem I have with this, and I guess there's two problems right now. Number one, I'm not really going out anywhere. I see this device. I unfold it. I get it. I get the use case for it. It's a nice experience. I'm home right now, and let me tell you, I go and grab my iPad mini or my iPad, $329 iPad. Let's just put that out there, the cheapest one. As good as this and cool as this folding tablet is, the iPad has a better experience on it. It just does. Mm-hmm. It's either the mini has the smaller display, which maybe you want the smaller display like this has, or you want a bigger display. And the apps on that are better than anything this is going to offer, because having a big display is nice. Doing the multitasking is nice on this. In some ways, maybe even better than an iPad, because you can drag windows around, but not as productive for me. I find the iPad apps to be more compelling, a little more polished than they are on Android. And at the end of the day, most of these are just big phone screen apps, rather than what I want is more of a, I want an app that's going to utilize the screen space to give me some more features to make it more productive or just a more polished experience. So that's the one problem it has right now, is maybe if this was a normal world we live in, I'd be outside all the time. I'd be going places. I'd bring my, Z Fold 2 Fold 2, and I'd have the phone, and I'd open up and I have the tablet, and it would be like this dream world. The problem is that world it's not here right now. And that's not fair to the device, right? That's not fair. We're going to go back to normal one day, and maybe all of a sudden that makes sense again. The second problem I have with it is the tablet experience is really good. When you unfold it, it's really nice. I like it. You got the 120 hertz in there too, for all you 120 hertz nuts. When you fold it back up and use it as a phone, and listen, in the ideal world, this has to be a good phone too, because this might actually be the way you use it most of the time if things are normal, because you're going outside, you pull out your phone with one hand, you have something else in your other hand or whatever. You're just walking around. You're not going to, you're not going to be like walking around like this with two hands going, you're going to be using it one hand. It's not a good phone. It's too chunky. It's heavy. It's thick. It's hard to, because it's so like thick and stuff like that. It's kind of hard to like tap. Typing on it is hard for me. I don't know about you. Like it's really narrow, so it's not like fun to type on. It's a better display, I guess, than the first one was, but it's still very narrow. It's still not a full phone display, which is what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be my iPhone or whatever Pixel on the outside and then tablet on the inside. The tablet part's pretty much true. It's still just not a full phone on the outside, which I think holds it back a lot. And I might be willing to overcome that because I want that bigger display on the front. But I think a lot of just regular people are just going to go, that's really inconvenient. Why would I want that? And it's hard. It's hard to kind of parse those two things together. That being said, and I feel like I'm being a little bit too negative on it, $2,000 is expensive, but I am really impressed with the overall hardware on this thing. Just still impressed and amazed by the technology that, the fact that you can fold a display and it turns into like this mini tablet. It's all really, really amazing stuff. And no matter what I have to say by the time I spend more time with this phone, I just got to applaud Samsung for just even making a device like this. I feel like it is an engineering achievement, if anything.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, as next week or whenever we talk again, I'll definitely give feedback as time goes on and see what I think. It definitely doesn't feel like much of a phone, which is what I said. I said I couldn't put my finger on it. It doesn't feel like a phone. It feels like something else. And it's not an insult to it. It just feels like something else to me. But it's a really interesting piece of hardware that is so close to what may be the next gen, the next thing beyond flat slab phones. We'll have to see though. And definitely with time, we will fill you in. But I think we've more or less said it all. Do you have anything else to say?
I think that's it, Travis. I feel like
so. I have good.
The full 2, we're obviously probably going to talk about it again.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's early days. I feel. I don't know. I feel like this definitely has a better chance than the Z Flip had. Just using it now, it is more of a transformative experience. I do want to get that across, and it's a really nice piece of hardware. So I think it does stand a chance. The biggest question to me though is it the next big thing? Like, does everyone make a folding phone? I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah, not yet. Maybe someday, but not yet. Regardless of that, an exciting piece of hardware, and we'll definitely be talking more about it on GadgetCast. Of course, you can always hit us up either on the audio podcast if you're listening on there. Of course, you can watch us on YouTube as well, youtube.com/GadgetCast. We're also on Twitter, twitter.com/RealGadgetCast. You can find all those links in the show notes and, of course, in the description below if you are watching on YouTube. But good news, everybody. I've made an outro. I can't hear it when I play it, so I don't know exactly how this is going to work. We're going to give it a go, though. Are you ready for this? You ready to hear this, Greg? This is new outro. This is hot fire. All right, let's hit this hot fire. Ladies and gentlemen, he's Greg. I'm Travis. This is GadgetCast. See you next week. All right, and that'll do her. I didn't hear any of that, so hopefully it sounded good. Because I have my Bluetooth on, so I can't hear that. But, yeah, I actually have to now edit 2 videos because I want to release another video tomorrow and one on Wednesday. So I don't, and one, like I said, the one has like 20 minutes of footage. I don't know what the hell I was talking about. So I'm probably going to just go ahead and jump off and start on that. Plus, I got dinner and all the other things. Otherwise, I would do an aftercast, but I have a lot of stuff I need to do this week. So I hope everyone has an incredible week. Greg, what kind of cool stuff are you going to grace the people with this week?
Oh man, more Apple Watch stuff, maybe some more iPad stuff. I'm working on that content. Maybe you'll see an aesthetic iOS video out of me. Maybe I'll make that. I don't know. I just saw Sam from iUpdate, who we have to get on the show. I think he wants to get on the show. He just posted a picture saying aesthetic with all of his things customized. So I feel like a video is dropping in pretty soon. So he might be the first tech person on this trend. Maybe I'll see how his video does, but then sit back and wait.
Cool.
That's it for me.
I don't have the sound bite for this, Alex, but if I can get it, I can put it on there, of course. People seem to want space travel at the end of the outro.
Oh, no. Yeah. You can't take the space travel away from them. They get upset. I tried it once and they're like, we're space travel.
It's so weird, but okay, whatever.
You know what I got to do? I got to customize my iOS home screen, and every app is just a Willy Doo picture, and it's all different Willy Doos.
That's hilarious.
That's the viral
awesome.
Video right there. The Willy Doo.
Yeah, it is. Willy Doo homepage with space travel. Everyone, I hope you have a great rest of your week. Space travel throughout the entire week, and we'll see you next time. Peace and love.